Oh, these clouds just came out of nowhere. Sitting editing some film and all these clouds all of a sudden formed and now it's sprinkling. We'll see how things develop with this. What's going on, everyone? I'm Brandon, and this is the Greening the Desert project. All right, it's starting to come down in a little bit bigger drops now, and it looks like these clouds are kind of sticking around us, at least. Bring on more rainwater. We're gonna get our stuff filled back up soon yet. But you can get an idea of how sandy actually our soil is. And we actually have a good amount of water penetration when we do get the rain here. So it actually is gonna take a whole lot of rain coming all at once for things to start the sheet flow. And you can see the wind has blown our straw layer a good amount all over the place. And they've actually, it's kind of hard to tell, but they actually are filling in the little crevices and the little bowls and stuff that are in the landscape itself. So where a lot of this straw piled up, it's actually filled in a lot, and it's started, it's going to start building the level of the soil so everything becomes more even and a more even sheet flow. But then we can see this water vein here, and it's hard to kind of tell the dip that it has on camera, but this whole deal right here, this strip, this is a water vein where water, when it does come down really hard, this is where it's flowing down, and we see all the straw has blown into this spot to help fill it in. So now we'll actually start leveling out this area a whole lot more so that we get a more even sheet flow across everything. It's a part of the soil erosion out here in general when we don't have the coverage like we're trying to create here. All of that soil, all that dust, everything is being blown away. Funny after all that, how the sound it's just dead quiet. No sound, no wind. That was pretty good. That seemed like a lot of water, so we'll actually go and check on the rain gauge and see how much we got from that spurt. As we still got clouds coming around, we'll see we got, hey, it's a little over a 1/10 of an inch. It's better than nothing. We'll see after the storm passes, all these clouds and stuff like that, and we'll see kind of the total that we end up with, and if we actually do get more rain after this even. Just another day, and we might get some more clouds. Well, we might get some rain with those clouds. We'll see. All this is kind of coming towards us at least, so we'll see how the wind changes and if it continues its path towards us. Everything seems like it's slowly moving towards us. She gave us the old runaround. We're getting some sprinkles, but nothing really. I think we're just gonna get the edge of this little rain cloud passing us. Who knows, maybe the winds will change. Alright, it's starting to come down a little bit more. We're gonna wait and see how much more. Now it's coming down a little bit harder. We got that much more puddling that went on. And we can even see water is starting, it's running down this part of the road here, part of the pathway. So let's go check out, see how much of these puddles are going on here. And where we got our straw. This is cool to see. Gotta kind of move quick walking around here because our soil is so sandy that that takes a significant amount of rain even for sheet flow and all this puddling to even start happening. We just have a lot of soil penetration. Looks like we got some water already in our swales though. Gonna keep filming. This is a spot that actually where the goats were, so we can thank the goats for all the little divots and potholes that they made that are now capturing the rainwater. It's another spot where we were plucking rocks out, so you can see where all the little divots in most of these spots here where we took rocks out are now gathering and pooling rainwater. Now we're here at our property line. All this water's got me thinking, we gotta thank our Green Guardian, Patreon, and YouTube members. Thanks for joining the journey and on this mission of greening the desert. And remember, you can support the Greening the Desert project by joining our Green Guardians YouTube and Patreon membership. And you can also send us a super thanks. So this will be the point, since it's our property line and we're getting to our property corner actually, this will be a point where we do wanna add a lot more basins. Pretty much how we've plucked the rocks and made all of these little pools, we're gonna definitely wanna create more basins to hold on to as much of the water as we can before it leaves the property, basically. This is all where we plucked rocks. We took rocks out and all these little pockets that we've made for water to pool in. And it's super cool to just see how removing all these rocks, what we've done and what we've created essentially for the rainwater harvesting, but also cool to see that we are soaking and storing more water in our landscape here. Just gonna kind of walk around and see certain areas, like this area is where the goats had been moved through. Walking along our driveway path. This was our path that we had worked on before we even got to the building location. And you can see our rocks and how we've made kind of these swale rolling dips and kind of rock check dams combined in them. But it's again, all these little pockets where water's being held are a lot of these spots where we took rocks and dug rocks out of the ground to either move out of the way or help build up the pathway, as you can kind of see. So we're at the bottom of our driveway ramp. You can see all these spots where rocks were taken out and it was kind of dug in. We've got a nice pool of water that gathered up. And that's essentially what this beginning portion of the driveway ramp is supposed to do. Is comes to this low spot and we'll need to stack gravel and rocks and stuff still, but it's supposed to slope and drive water to this corner and through the rocks and kind of down the way. So we can see that this area is doing its job, along with how there's all the little pockets where big rocks used to be. So you can see the way that our driveway path is. We have it leading and knowing some of the spots and the low points where water's going to gather. That's where you can see we've dug out this area previously when we were working on the driveway path here, and we've got our rock check swale basically, but you can see all the water that thing gathered. And we got the coyotes and the dogs howling. So we're towards the bottom here. We're at our first rolling dips here off in the distance, but this is essentially what we want our rolling dips to do. We want our rolling dips at a slight angle of the water flow off of the road so that it stays drier, at least on the pathway, and less muck for driving. But then at the same time, we want to be able to try and gather this water and direct it to places that we want. So this rolling dip is unfinished, but it's still doing its job. It's funneled the water to this corner. So we've got a nice pool. You can see my gravel because I wasn't finished. But this is what we want things to do here. There's just so much to look at. We've got 10 acres worth, and not all of it is filled with earthworks, but there's a lot to look at. Just from that little storm, look how much water we caught in this thing. That's a whole lot. That's a few hundred gallons off of that liner connected to it. Major water catchment, even for a drizzle and not a huge downpour at least. This is the evidence of these one rock high check dams and one rock high sheet flow spreaders essentially. You can see how much water is actually backed up on this end from this ditch along our driveway path here, and you can see how much water is backed up there and compared to how much is actually trickling out here. So we can see how much sediment and how much buildup and slowing of the water, which will equate to more of this water soaking into the ground as opposed to continuing to run down the ditch as it has. But that's why we have a little bit of a series of rock check dams along the way. We're going to continue to build more of these up and just have spots along the way just to have rock check dams and one rock high check dams. But that's super cool to see. Super cool to see how much water that little bit of rock stacking there is slowing and soaking more of that water here. Pretty cool to see all of that rainwater and all the puddles that we were getting. And this might actually sound like a pretty crazy idea that we're going to be doing with